That was your best one yet.
Is it?
That's your best one yet.
Now you see, because he's a drummer, I take that to heart. I think he meant it. Do you think he meant it? I think he meant it.
No, it was your best one yet.
It's the Mark Panopoulos Chime Time, folks.
Loosey Goosey.
Loosey Goosey Chime Time. And we're the Air Radio Network. And what we are
two goofballs.
Two old broadcasters who just can't hang it up. And we're still here farting around.
Yeah.
And I'm having more fun now.
We bring you some great trivia each week, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, Leah's trivia is
the ones this week. There's a bunch of good ones this week.
We got a lot of good stuff to come up. And, of course,
and we have a lot of fun. You're right. We do.
Did we talk about the reunion last week? I'm not sure if we did or not.
I don't think we did, really.
We were so busy with Halloween and
there's so much going on.
But we had a wonderful time at our reunion. We had Stu Patterson there from the
Evelyn
CDC, Evelyn Macco, the Queen of News.
Mark Panopoulos, the namer of our Loosey Goosey Chime Time.
Larry Silver.
Yeah.
Of CFTR News and Samantha. Stu Patterson is such a nice guy.
Bill Smith was there.
Smith, our musicologist.
Divine
Mike
was there.
Divine,
Mike was there.
And Jim Carr from CFOS.
Oh, it was great seeing everybody, man.
Craig Fox from Brantford.
And hearing those voices again. Some of them just really came back to you, right? It was like, because I hadn't met some of these guys, so it was really cool. And they were the same with me, too. They were like, yeah, as soon as they heard my voice, they were, oh, I know who you are, so.
James who?
Wayne.
Oh, yeah, Wayne. Walter Scott James, yes. He was there. He's our, and he does our country show and stuff. And it was a great mix of people.
It was a great time.
And the symposium did a wonderful job.
Next year will be even bigger, I think.
Yeah, we're going to do it again next year, for sure. Now, I guess we're brought to you by Yukon Tourism this week.
Beautiful spot. You want to see the Northern Lights? That's the place to do it.
You want to jump out into the wilderness, I'll tell you one thing. There's no view like that in the Yukon. It's just the mountains in the Yukon. Everything comes together in the Yukon, and it's just spectacular.
I was very fortunate to visit there, and it's absolutely stunning.
So if you're coming to Canada, folks, you got to put Yukon on the itinerary. Whitehorse, Dawson City, it's like walking back in town.
Oh, God,
in time. When you go downtown Dawson City, all the streets are dirt.
Yeah.
It looks like an old
country and western,
right.
They got the saloon.
Yeah. And they got the in the background, there's the drop of the mountains.
Mountains,
Just absolutely. It's like, wow, man, is this for real? Well, yes, it is. It is. Now, let's look at the major news stories here. I'll go through these very quickly, or we will. The Ukraine war is still going on, of course.
In case you didn't know.
Zelensky accused Russia now of energy terrorism. Those poor people in Ukraine, man, I'm telling you.
A lot of places without power.
And it's, that's just one of their problems.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Nets have suspended Kyrie Irving without pay for failure to disavow anti-Semitism. And apparently he's apologized, but you don't go around doing stuff like that. Yeah. And Ontario memo orders school boards to make every effort to keep the classrooms open. So that's going on here.
Yeah, still a lot of that talk going on. Trudeau, in a call with Doug Ford, says the notwithstanding clause is wrong and inappropriate. I tend to agree with that a little bit. Fall mini budget aims to help Canada compete with the U.S. clean energy investments that are going on right now. And North Korea, Pyongyang, fires suspected ICBM. And
they showed video on that on CTV, and this is what they saw in South Korea when they were watching TV. Was the guy was reading the news, and all of a sudden it was a beep, 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 and they were supposed to go into their bunkers. This is serious stuff, man.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, a lot of stuff going on between North and South Korea, too. So it's not just in the Ukraine. There's just a lot of crap going on out there.
Oh, China, now Xi Jinping, or whatever his name is, he's put his foot firmly in the place of I'm the boss.
Yeah.
And did you see that guy escorted out of the Chinese Parliament there, or whatever?
Well, even how many of our NDP caucus members got put out of Queen's Park there the other day, stomping their feet and ranting and raving, and I think it was like 8 of them got ejected out of the, and our very own Ted Arnott is the House Speaker. He was the one who had to, escort them out. And, yeah, it's
Poor Ted.
But yeah.
And what else is going on here?
Ottawa.
Ottawa's raised immigration targets with a new goal of $500K per year by 2025. And Bolsonaro has broken his silence without publicly conceding. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Brazil, too.
That too.
And we've got some great stuff in the sky this month.
You must be loving this.
Meteor showers. I love looking in the sky. A lunar eclipse and Uranus.
I
know. Uranus is going to be in the sky too, folks. Apparently, when you get really close, I wonder why they named it Uranus, but it smells horrible. Apparently, the planet, because of the sulfur. Is it? I guess the sulfur makes it stink.
Oh God, that would smell like rotten eggs.
I think that had something rotten eggs. I think that had something to do with how they named Uranus. I'm not sure.
I don't think so, but you can believe that.
Yeah,
it's like a giant toilet bowl in the sky, folks.
There you go.
But it is. It's huge. I mean, it's next to Jupiter and Saturn. It's the biggest.
Yeah.
Right? So, and of course, what's going on with Elon Musk?
Chief Twit. I love this name. Chief Twit.
Well,
he's saying that he's going to be the CEO of Twitter. You're going to see some big changes at Twitter going on.
He's already fired a whole ton of people.
Yeah.
And he's actually bringing up now things that happen behind the scenes that they would not divulge.
Oh.
And he's bringing it out.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. Nancy Pelosi, the man charged with attempted kidnap and assaulting, has pleaded not guilty, which is like, hello.
Poor husband, man.
Yeah, he got released today from the hospital, so he's on his way home, and he's 80-something.
Well, you think that Pelosi should have a better protection
security
for her family than in the middle of a suburb in San Francisco?
Yeah.
This is the next person to the leader. You know what I mean? Or she's up there, and she should really have protection.
We've had some unidentified flying objects out there, and the Canadian Air Force responds to these threats with their CF-18 jet fighters. So
there's lots of fun stuff going on, isn't there?
Yeah, it's and hey, who's to say we're the only ones in these galaxies that we have all the way around us that is the only life form out there. So who's
World Series is on, and Houston are up at this point in time, 3 games,
3-2, is it?
And I've got a lot of old radio buddies down in Philadelphia, Bill Culp and the gang, and who are cheering for the Phillies. So I guess I'm cheering for the Phillies.
Well, a lot of people don't want Houston to win because they got caught up in that scandal of stealing signs and yada yada yada. Right?
I know, so there's still and you know there's some culprits still on the team.
That too. And,
so that's after that. I didn't really like the Astros too much.
But again, they were just the ones that got caught.
Yeah, well,
there's a lot of them out there doing it. Because remember when just going to football, New England Patriots did that. Remember when they were getting caught stealing too as well.
Right.
But a big hello to my aunt and uncle in Houston, and they're cheering for their team.
Well, of course they are.
It's so funny because Todd went to go do a Zoom call with his parents, and he got put on the back burner for the World Series. No, we'll talk to you later. So hi, Uncle Bill and Aunt Gay. So
I like Verlander. I've always liked him ever since he was pitching for Detroit, and it's good to see he won a World Series game there for him. But as a team, as a whole, the Phillies are lovable.
It's actually been, kind of what I've seen, because I've watched some of the games and then the highlights as well. It's been a pretty damn good World Series, actually.
Yeah, actually, it has.
It's been pretty good.
It is. It's been a good playoff.
Yeah, it is.
And it's good to have that the wild card in there because it brings so many more cities in. Philadelphia wouldn't even be in the World Series if it wasn't for the wild card because they are a wild card team.
Yeah.
So it brings more markets in because back in the old days, the Dodgers were ahead by 30 games in July, and it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This brings in Seattle. It brought in Seattle. It brought on Toronto. Well, let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's get into the fun stuff. But anyway, and the Leafs are sucking big time. Well, they did win.
Well, they did win Philly the other night. That was a good game. I got to tell you, this was a deja vu moment for me. Near the end of the game, when Giordano tackled Buddy that was picking on Matthews. When he come in and tackled him, it was like watching the Broad Street Bullies back in the 70s and the early 80s. The Philadelphia Flyers and Toronto got together in the late 70s. It was a brouhaha of fighting. It was, you'd have guys suspended for games. Oh, it was, watching that was just priceless, but they definitely stepped up and protected their star players. So.
I like the Flames this year with their additions that they've added.
Kadri's blowing everybody away.
You know what? He's really blossomed into a superstar.
Absolutely.
God bless him. He was one of my favorite Leafs, and I still cheer for him. I cheer for all the Canadian teams, apart from Montreal.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Joe, and all my.
We still love our and it always seems to come down to that, or not always, but a lot of the times it comes down to that. You know, we get into the playoffs. We've only got one Canadian team in, so Canadians tend to rally. Yeah, tend to rally around that. Whether it's Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Montreal, Toronto, it doesn't matter. Whatever team is there, Canadians tend to rally around that. So
when it's playoffs and the Leafs are gone, I tend to that does happen sometimes.
We're just starting.
If the Leafs are gone.
I'm saying like in the past, Canadians, Leaf fans in general, we were always cheering for the Canadian teams. I don't care who you are. You're going to cheer for, unless you're weird like Chris Darrow up in Sudbury and you're a Rangers fan.
Yeah.
Never did understand that, Chris. I'm just kidding, buddy. But I've got, and you know, I mean, it's. But Edmonton's another team that's going to do well. I think Edmonton.
Looking forward to always look forward to the hockey season, regardless of. I'm a Leaf fan, but. I really want to see the Cup back in Canada. That's what I really want to see. So.
I don't like those new Leaf jerseys either.
What, the black and blue?
No, I don't like that. That's not a Leaf jersey.
That's a Justin Bieber shirt.
That's a Justin
Bieber designed
I love
it.
You, Justin, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
What are you trying to be, the LA Kings? We're not the LA Kings.
Hey, new generation, right?
No. Old school Leaf sweaters.
Get
Sorry.
off my lawn.
There's certain things that you don't mess with. Yeah. And one is our shirt. Or as Archie Bunker used to say, our shite.
Our shite.
Our shite, ain't it? All right, let's get into the fun part of the show.
I said a sheet cake, not a sheet cake.
Leah's Trivia, and brought to you by Yukon Tourism, of course, this week. This week in 1967, Jim Morrison of the Doors, who says, "We have fun. The kids have fun. The cops have fun." It's kind of a weird triangle.
It is a weird triangle.
Didn't Jim have a great sense of humor? Jackson Browne's first gig was 14 years old, playing with Bob Dylan at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium in 1964. 14 years old, Jackson Browne. He was born same day as I was, October 9th. Same day as John Lennon.
Kind of reminds me of Steve Winwood when he was with Traffic.
Yeah.
15 years old.
Yeah, Spencer Davis Group and all that.
So
it all started somewhere.
November 3rd, this week, 1956, the classic, iconic movie that still people watch hundreds of times or thousands of times a year. The Wizard of Oz airs on television for the first time when it broadcast by CBS.
Wow.
Very cool.
Used to be on every December.
Oh, con.
It's still my all-time favorite.
Oh, it's a wonderful film.
Mine's the Die Hards.
Yeah.
Or Vegas Vacation.
Yeah.
Vegas Vacation. Christmas Vacation. My all-time favorite movie. I love that. Randy Quaid in that is just absolutely priceless.
Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid's funnier off camera than he is on.
Actually on, yeah.
He's a hilarious guy. This week in 1964, Mayor Ralph Locker of Cleveland, Ohio, bans the Rolling Stones from playing the city ever again after a teenager falls from a balcony during the group's concert. Locker is quoted as commenting, "Such groups do not add to the community, culture, or entertainment." What the hell is...
What did they...
Did Mick push her off the balcony or what? Ridiculous.
That's what happens when you smoke too much marijuana.
That's right.
1967, the filming for the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour was completed, finishing with a sequence at Ringo's country house in Weybridge, Surrey. BBC Television bought the rights to the broadcast film twice. The first broadcast in black and white was scheduled December 26, 1967. The second showing on Color Channel was BBC Two, was not yet available to all Britons and was set for January 5th, 1968.
I remember it was 1972 when we got our first color TV in England. Color TV didn't really kick in until the early 70s there.
Late 70s even, really.
Yeah. Remember the old black and white TV?
They were there, but people couldn't afford it. That was the thing, right? Well, I did. I grew up watching Hockey Night in Canada on a little 13-inch black and white TV. That was the only thing I was allowed to watch on TV.
I remember when I was 12 years old, and my dad brought our first color TV home, and we plugged it in and turned it on, and we all sat there all night like, wow.
Oh, God, yeah.
This is unreal.
I was spoiled.
That's how old I am.
In my room.
That's how old I am. Here's a tidbit here. The Carly Simon song, You're So Vain, well, it's about Warren Beatty.
Yeah.
There you go. And not Mick Jagger, who sang backing vocals on the track, as a matter of fact. And Mick Jones of The Clash, his first job was working in the Social Security Benefits Office.
Imagine walking in and sitting across the desk from him to try to get money. Oh, my God. November 2nd, 1920. KDKA in Pittsburgh becomes the first commercially licensed radio station in the U.S. They're not, they're not the first station on the air, but the first to get a broadcast license. With consumers unsure of the benefits of radio, the station announces results of the Harding-Cox presidential election, getting the news to those with a radio much faster than everyone else who had to wait for the morning paper.
You know, the wonderful thing about radio today is it's the same link that you have to people. It's instant. Well,
right there,
if it's a radio station that's run properly, not the garbage that's out there that, one thing that really pisses me off about radio today is the community aspect of it. And, those horrific hurricanes that we had on the coast there, you tune in the local radio, and they're playing some show from L.A., you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not, they've lost that.
They've lost that local feel.
They've lost it. And that's what radio is all about. It's local, and that's why we do what we do in Halton Hills, of course.
Absolutely.
Local radio is the most important in the world for your community, where you can go, just like you can go and escape for an hour and just be totally tuned into your area. And there's so many times where radio does the job on events that happen like that, like hurricanes and weather things, and it's so important.
Acts of God, I guess, is the best way to put it.
1944, Keith Emerson of Emerson, Lake and Palmer is born in Todmorden, Yorkshire, England, where his family has been evacuated during World War II. He grows up in Worthing, Sussex, learning classical piano, but later expanding into rock and jazz. So happy birthday to Keith Emerson, of course. And
amazing. What's the word I'm looking for?
Oh, their albums are iconic.
The music score. Just to even, I've read some of the music score, and it is just
mind-blowing.
It is trying to wrap your head around it. And I read music fairly well. Not great, but I read it fairly well. And I had to keep going. I had to keep doing this with the pages to go back, because each part of the score was just like, what?
Can you imagine playing that?
Oh, that, exactly. Well, that's what's going on in my head. Yeah. I'm trying to think of how are you doing this live. But ELP, amazing band. 1956, a riot breaks out at Fats Domino's show in Fayetteville, North Carolina, with police resorting to tear gas to break up the unruly crowd. Fats jumps out of a window to avoid the melee, and he and two other band members are slightly injured. So
can you imagine?
Can you imagine Fats jumping out of a window?
Yeah,
wow.
That's 1956.
Can you imagine?
That's
now you expect that in the 60s and 70s maybe, but 56, it is.
But it's got its funny bits to it though too. So
I talked to Fats on the phone a couple of times. Never met him, but my old boss Norman B. I used to have lunch in his back at FM 108. We used to eat lunch together, and one day the phone rang and it was Fats. And then Norm says, "Here, you want to talk to Fats Domino?" It's like, and here I am with my ham and cheese.
Yeah.
It's like, "Hi, Fats. Just thought I'd
how's it hanging?
How you doing there, boy?" he was awesome, wasn't he? Fats Domino. 1974, Stevie Wonder's "You Haven't Done Nothing," a dig on President Richard Nixon. Hits #1 in America. Now, I had no idea about that.
I didn't either.
I don't read these. We don't read these until
we read these when we're sitting here.
When we're sitting here, because Leah puts them together, and she sees our shock many times. That one there, I had no idea.
I did not
That's such
either.
a great song too. No, it's just put a whole new cast on it. Yeah, now I'm seeing Nixon's face. Oh. All right.
This is an interesting one too as well. 2007, Ozzy Osbourne claimed his reputation had been tarnished after a party of supposedly involving him was organized by U.S. police officers to round up missing criminal suspects. Over 500 people in North Dakota with outstanding arrest warrants were sent invitations, and more than 30 of them showed up. Osbourne said it was insulting that his name had been used, but the police argued it was a creative way to fight crime. Ozzy had been selected because he was due to play a gig in the nearby arena, which was used to explain why he supposedly wanted to have a party, everybody attending the party. Guys were told with outstanding warrants, you can meet Ozzy Osbourne, come on down. And the cops slapped cuffs on him right away.
Can you imagine their faces?
Oh man, that's just priceless.
But I mean, you wouldn't want Ozzy to ever be tarnished.
No, you wouldn't want that, And Ozzy was
not the Prince of Darkness.
Ozzy did say after that, and we all agreed with him, of course. Thank you, Ozzy. A wee tidbit here. Let's move down the page.
We kind of doubled up on that one.
Yeah, we have fun with Ozzy. You got to hang in with the Ozzy stuff, man. In 1963, Indiana State Governor Matthew Welsh claimed the Kingsman song "Louie Louie" was pornographic. The publishers offered $1,000 to anyone who could find anything suggestive in the lyrics. And there was a radio station in Washington that programmed "Louie Louie" 7, the song.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, there's over 1,000.
I remember.
There's over 1,000 versions of "Louie Louie."
Yeah.
And they actually.
I didn't know this.
I don't know how many. There's hundreds of them.
Oh God, yeah.
But there was enough for them to put out a radio station. I think it lasted for about a year or two. They just played "Louie Louie," one after the other. But it was a gimmick, I guess. But they did. That station actually exists. It was in Washington State. I remember that. Can't remember the call letters, but I can't remember what I did 5 minutes ago. So
that's got a bit of truth and reality to it as
exactly.
well. This week in history, a little tidbit. Jennifer Lopez's first job was a backing singer. I don't think it was her first job, but her first performing job was a backing singer and dancer with Janet Jackson.
Well, I could always tell Jenny was a good dancer.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. She's always had the moves.
I think it was her first job. She had done dancing and training and all the other things, but that was her actual first paying job.
Yeah.
I like J-Lo.
Very
I've always
cool.
liked J-Lo. She's
Me too.
very easy on the eyes, too, as is Janet Jackson, of course. A little bit of history. 1975, Elton John's Island Girl was his 5th U.S. #1, a number 14 hit in the UK, and the lyrics were about a prostitute in New York City and a Jamaican man who wants to take her back to Jamaica.
And Louie Louie's a bad song, right?
There's Elton John.
And he used to wear an outfit, and I actually put the image up. The outfit that he wore was almost, I don't remember, it was a one piece, but anyways, and it has palm trees all over it.
Right.
And he used to perform and sing that.
Yeah.
I think Elton is probably one of my all-time. Well, I can't say all-time.
He's a massive entertainer. Like it's not just about the songs when you go see Elton shows. It's about the show as well. Like
Elton puts so much work into his shows.
It's a theatrical event.
The last in the 70s, I remember as a young girl going into high school, watching him with platform shoes with goldfish in the heels.
Mm-hmm.
The things, the big glasses, and the.
Yeah.
I mean, who else did anything that original?
My favorite album of his is not Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, although it's up there. It's Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy.
Yeah, same here.
And it takes me back to when I was a kid. The tracks on that song you don't hear a lot on the radio anymore. Someone Saved My Life Tonight, you'll hear that. but you won't hear all the like Captain Fantastic.
Even Captain Fantastic.
Like the title track
Yeah.
is such a great song.
Yeah.
Every song on that album, it's like Rumors, Fleetwood Mac. It's every song on that album could have been a hit if they would have released.
You could have picked any track off of that album and
creativity.
thrown it to an FM station, and it would have been a hit.
The creativity that Elton John and Bernie Taupin had back in the early 70s is immeasurable. There was no one to compete with them in the early 70s. They were it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was all those bands out there. There was Grand Funk, but you know what? Elton was the man. CKLW, a lady who ran the radio station, was the one that really pushed Elton John. So it's Canadian radio that broke Elton John in the world. Don't forget that.
Oh, that's
Rosalie
again. He
Tremblay.
has mentioned that many times, and again, that is a big part of the reason why he actually has a home here.
That's right.
His roots really trace back to Canada.
That's right. And
Big
CKLW and Rosalie Tremblay, and at CKLW, Canadian radio station, Alice Cooper wouldn't have been around without Rosalie Tremblay. Bob Seger wouldn't have been around without Rosalie. So don't forget our Rosalie, and she's got a statue of her.
That's right.
In Windsor or Leamington, I'm not sure which.
Leamington, I think it is.
Charlie O'Brien, my buddy at CKLW, thebig8.com, and he used to work there, and she had that ear for music. She just knew. And Elton came in, and she pushed him, and there he was. So I just have to say that because, it's Canadian,
Well, and radio is more than just news and weather.
That's right.
Exactly.
Playing tunes,
Wow.
You guys,
It's
broadcasters, all have a big part of history in different parts
Well,
of the world with different artists,
and,
right?
and informing people about it too as well, because a lot of people don't know. Like this one, 1998, NBC airs part 1 of the 4-hour miniseries The Temptations. Based on Otis Williams' autobiography, Temptations, Williams, portrayed by Charles Malik Whitfield, is the last surviving member of the group's original lineup and takes a lot of heat from his former bandmates and families for his version of events that
they
happened.
didn't really like his side of
No,
the story.
they didn't like that biopic thing so much at all. So, and that's going to happen, like when you're talking about a band like the Temptations, which was a fair-sized band, they were probably anywhere between a 9 and 11 piece, depending on the show. There's a lot of dynamics there that go on that a lot of people never would know about.
The moves, the choreography of the Temptations and the Four Tops is not an easy chore.
No.
These guys
Well, they were the first, NSYNCs and Boys to Men and all of that. Like, they were the ones, because they didn't just get up and sing. They had to do the slide. They had to do the
all
moves.
together.
And it was all choreographed.
The whole thing is just if you were lucky enough to see those Motown groups in the 60s live, man, you would have seen them on stage and there's a boom,
Well,
boom,
again,
boom.
it was a show. It wasn't just about the music. They put on a show.
Yeah.
And that was like when I saw Elton the first time when I was 5. The stage was this big, grandiose, and he comes out on this grand piano, and like you said, he had this massive hat on, the glasses with the platform shoes and the sequins, and he come out and he's killing it on the piano, and I'm just like, I'm 5 years old going.
Well, you met him when you
exactly. My teeth removed.
Yeah, you had your teeth.
My baby teeth
toothless
removed.
Lee Lakin meets Elton John when he was 8.
Blood and gauze coming out.
There goes my mic.
Oh.
Can you grab my mic there, Leah? Oh, never mind.
So yeah, it's to see a spectacle like that, and again, the same thing comes with Elvis. When you go see a guy like Elvis or Frank Sinatra or whatever, it was a theatrical event. It wasn't just a guy coming out going, "Hey, singing to you." Ooh, no, it was a whole theatrical event.
Supertramp were amazing at doing that too. I saw them at Exhibition Stadium.
I was there.
So did I.
79.
79. I remember.
I
I was there.
I was front row, right against the bars, right at the stage.
My brother's with his
They were
girlfriend.
this long.
My brother's with his girlfriend, and they made out the whole concert.
There's a hey.
And I'm on the seat going like this, right? And the two of them are making out. I'm like, you're missing a hell of a show.
Oh no, I was right up on the bar that held you back from the stage.
Yeah.
And there was
Okay.
that little gap, and there's the stage. And oh my God, the weed going past it was incredible. They were this long.
Oh yeah.
This wide.
But wasn't that a great show?
Wasn't
that a great show?
It was an awesome show.
When they played,
that's
when
funny.
They played,
we were both there.
When they played,
all three of us were there.
We were all there, eh?
That's funny.
That's awesome. I didn't know.
No, that was a great show.
It was. And when
I was like literally.
I remember.
I could have reached out to them.
I remember when they played Rudy on the video. Remember? Rudy came on. They had that video play, and I remember looking up, and it was like a brown haze all across the stage, man, from all the weed,
people smoking weed.
And you could smell.
Right at the front with everything.
Yeah,
you could
it was all Leah's fault.
Yeah,
it was all Leah's. It was all
me passing it around, but let me tell you,
there's like 50,000 stone people just enjoying music and enjoying life, and what a wonderful concert that was.
That was excellent.
Oh yeah.
That's
funny. We were all there. That's so cool.
I didn't know you guys were there.
6 degrees of separation, everybody.
My God, it's just blown my mind that we were all at the same concert. And, of course, Supertramp were always, I mean, the Crime of the Century album.
Oh.
I mean, that's another album.
Those two, that one, because Breakfast in America came out right after that one.
Yep.
To come out with 2 back-to-backs, and again, Breakfast in America, another album that you could pull any track off and play it on air.
Absolutely.
Any track, you could pull it off and play it on air.
Have you ever heard School with headphones on?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, my God.
On mushrooms.
Oh,
mushroom. What a trip, man. It's a good trip.
Yeah, I don't need to comment. I think we've all had our similar experiences.
We could do a whole show on Supertramp.
To this day, my brother still, when he hears Supertramp, he thinks of me. He actually bought me tickets to go about a decade ago and go see him in Casino Rama.
Right.
But it was just Roger Hodgson at that point.
Yeah.
It wasn't. But he bought me the tickets and took me, and away we went. And
how are we doing for time? We're having so much fun here.
30.
Okay, good, because I got to get going too.
Yeah, you got to get going too. But we've had a lot of fun this week, as always.
This show is so much fun.
And, another song, and I'm going to talk about Supertramp. Now I'm getting old. I love Supertramp. The Lord Is Mine is my favorite Supertramp song. That's on even in the quietest moments.
Quietest moment, yeah.
And the one with Winston Churchill at the beginning, we will fight them on the seas and the oceans. That whole album too. Every album that Supertramp had in the '70s was a classic. Crime of the Century, Breakfast in America. When they got into Cannonball and stuff, they started.
They started losing. Some of the band members were also leaving at that point, right? You had a lot of the band, so they were bringing in studio guys. Well, studio guys are paid to do what they're paid to do. They're not paid because the thing is when Supertramp was doing Crime of the Century and Breakfast in America, it was all the same band. Yeah. So all those creative juices come together and they start to work. Studio guys, I'm guilty of it as well. When I go in to fill in for a drummer somewhere, I'm just there to keep the beat. I don't add any. Yeah, it's not my band. It's not So you just come in and you do your job and you get out. And I think that's what happened when Cannonball came out. They were using so many studio musicians that the guys
watered their sound down a bit.
Yeah, it changed the dynamic of the sound. It didn't sound like this big orchestrated, almost like a band like Yes, or even the Doobie Brothers, where it was this orchestration that came into play. It sounded like a studio album. Yeah. And that was where I kind of went,
And the live is so much better because when they break out into different riffs.
Well, that's it too. It's
a whole different ballgame.
It's a different dynamic that comes into play. Like I said, I did one gig where the bass player and myself, we'd never even met each other before. We had to go fill in for the bass player and drummer, and the show went great. The show went fine, and it was everything, but it was very structured. It was very, we didn't get loosey goosey. We didn't, the leads were all very boom, boom, boom. Everybody had to be. So it sounded good, but to us as musicians, once you get into a rhythm with a bunch of guys, the stuff that can come out. We've turned a 3.5 minute song into a 45 minute song because we're in that pocket.
I've noticed that thing that when you guys, when Leah and I and the gang watch you play, when we're watching you jam, you go into that special place with the musicians.
Oh,
you
God,
connect
yeah.
together, and it's your time. It's your leisure. It's like
That's-
watching a great movie. You know, you're there, you're into it, and you're
Well, you're connected.
You're connected.
to
It is.
one another because
Yeah.
you know how each other plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know where you can wander off and they can go,
Well, that's
okay,
it, too.
and
Yeah, they
can come
follow
right in
you.
and
Yeah.
follow each one as
That's
they do
right.
this.
Like Ken and I, my bass player, we've been playing together for about 4 years now. So we have that connection now that he can kind of look at me and just do a nod or a wink or whatever, because I know he's going to start doing some bass runs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So I leave it alone and I don't try to overpower him or take over or whatever.
That's
So
my favorite part when I watch live bands. When the different musicians have their little time
yeah,
to break loose and just do whatever.
yeah,
Right?
and it
If you
allows.
watch live, it's amazing.
And when you see that live with musicians, like you say, like Supertramp and Doobie Brothers and Yes, and these guys are top-notch musicians. So when they go into a breakout, it's gonna be good. It's gonna
It's
be,
just-
yeah, you know, and you just sit there and. But yeah, it's to me again, playing live is the best feeling in the world. It's so.
Well, even the big stars, you can tell when they're on stage that they're in heaven.
Absolutely.
They just love it. That's what they do.
You know, I used to. I've said to people over the last 20, 30 years
Most
that
of them.
it killed me in the late 70s and 80s when you had all these musicians and they were trying all these drugs to get that high that you get when you play live and that energy you get from the room. There is no drug out there, alcohol, anything out there that can give you that other than doing it. That is the only thing that does it. We've gone and done a show, and all of us went, "That sucked. It was terrible. We all sucked. We were all
But
way
yet
off."
everybody enjoyed it because they don't know what you
But
do
the
wrong.
energy we got from the crowd, it didn't matter anymore. So to me, that's where the focus lies. So
I'm so happy that live music is back. We must be running
God,
way
yeah.
over now.
We're at like 37.
okay, yeah.
Well, we're going
And
to
that-
talk about the radio.
Yeah.
And Don Cherry. In fact, we have Don Cherry here on the Air Radio Network on Halton Hills Online, our local radio. But of course, we have two giant radio stations that serve Canada and the world. FM 108, 50s, 60s, 70s. Radio GTA.ca is our freeform station. We have a lot of wonderful shows on both stations on the weekend. Bill Smith, of course, a big part of our weekend. We have Top 40 Timeline, my show, which is heard around the world. My show is very popular in England, and that's where I'm from, I guess. But I have so much fun with the British radio stations and the fans. I just want everyone to know that, and we love you. And thanks for tuning us in on the video and on the radio. And don't forget that we have the Air Radio Network, don't we?
Absolutely.
News, weather, sports. Usually I take care of all that stuff. And we enjoy coming here every week and talking to you guys and basically having some fun. This is a show about nothing.
Exactly. We're the new Seinfeld.
Same thing. We just come here to relate and say, hey, it's Big Daddy, Lee, and Leah. We're here. We love you. How you doing this week? What's going on? And we'll tell you what's going on. She's having a hot flash.
Yes.
It's just heat.
Menopause.
A menopausal thing.
Oh no, I'm a long ways from that. No, I just freaking warm.
Well, thanks everybody for checking us out every week. We appreciate all the new viewers. And
Oh
stuff
yeah,
we've
the
had.
last week our Air Radio
was
to the roof.
excellent.
Yeah.
It was excellent. So thank you all so much. We appreciate it very, very
And
much.
if you want to message us on Facebook channel and get back to us or have any requests or stuff that you want us to talk about, or we're always open to new things. So
And the radio reunion video is coming.
Yes,
radio
we'll have that
I'm
coming
just
for you.
trying to get the time in to do it.
I
Yeah,
know. Well, we know
it's
that.
going to be a longer video. It'll probably be about the length of what we're doing here on the vlog. So,
probably, yeah. It'll be something you can sit down and look at.
and we're brought to you by.
We're brought to you by the Yukon Tourism Board, of course. The people in around the world, you have to come and check out our little piece of heaven in the top left corner, and that is the Yukon. Just outstanding scenery, outstanding animals. The animals of the Yukon. You're going to find grizzlies up there, my friends. So take some bear spray out if you're going to go for a walk, because you're in the real wilderness now.
Or some Metallica.
And
like the lady that Fared off a bear with Metallica.
Whitehorse is a beautiful city in the southern part of Yukon, and of course Dawson City, where all the action is. As we were talking at the beginning of the show, they have dirt roads in Dawson City and old saloons.
Yep.
And cowboys that spit and stuff. Bang.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll catch you on the B-side.
I'm getting really good at that.
That was a lot better.
That was maybe I'll get hired somewhere. I can be a bell ringer.
Bring you to the
or
Appalachian
a
on Friday.
chime ringer, yes. I'll play the chimes on your band.
That in a triangle.
Yeah. Give me a spoon, too. I'll play the spoons. I played the spoons.